this example, we're going to keep working on the homework problem 1.21. So this may have a different number in the text or in the stats portal assignment. But we've done A, where we added the counts and computed the percents for each group. Now we're going to make a bar graph of the percents using Excel. So I'm going to open up the information that we've already entered in Excel. And now I want to make a graph, bar graph in particular. So up here on the tab there's an insert button, and there's a sideways bar graph that we can do, or we could do what they call a column graph, which is an upward bar graph. And you can use any of these pretty designs. I'm going to use the standard bar graph here. So you click that and nothing happens. So you have to select some data. So you click select data. And there's a couple things we have to do. So the chart data range, first thing here, I want to click the values, and it's a little confusing because the chart outline is hiding our data, right? So we're going to click those values of the percentages. Those are what we're going to use to make the bars in our bar graph. Okay. So now that I've done that, it automatically shows me what it's going to look like, and that looks great. That's pretty much what I want it to look like. So I've done that. I'm going to say that looks okay to me. So the only other issue here is that this is percentages, but I don't know what this means by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what each of these bars, the titles down here, should be the age groups. So in order to get that information onto our chart, that's the horizontal axis. So I'm going to click Edit the Horizontal Axis, and I'm going to click up here on these age groups, see if that puts them in there. Yeah, that puts them right in there. So now I've got a chart. I click OK here. And I've got a pretty good bar graph here, right? It's got the actual age groups and years labeled correctly. It's got the percentages with bars indicating by their height what percentage these things are. So you can grab this bar graph and move it around a bit. I'm going to shrink it down a little so we can see our data. And it looks pretty accurate. So from 19 to 24-year-olds, we have about 41.8%, which is right where that bar is. So this looks like a great bar graph. So if we want to make this bar graph a little nicer and include some things like a title, we can do that from a couple of places. Right here in the design, under design for chart layouts, we can either click this one looks like it has a title here and some sort of legend on the right side. This one looks slightly different and actually puts the percentages on top. Here's another one that's slightly different. Or we can go over to layout, and here we have chart title. It tells where we want to put the chart title. If we click on the title of the chart, we can edit it. So you basically just click on it, and the title of this chart is going to be the ages of survey respondents. So then you click outside of that box and you've got a title. So now we've got a great title. So some of the other things, what if I don't know what these are? 1 through 18. So it might be nice to have some sort of label down here telling me that 1 through 18 is years, right? The age group in years. So if we, up here in our layout, there's a thing that says axis titles. So here's the primary horizontal axis title. I'm going to put a title below that. And oops, deleted that. So axis title, horizontal axis. Now if I click on it, I can change the axis title to age group and years. So now I know that these are the age groups and years, but I can see that these are percentages, but just for demonstration's sake, let's put a title there that says percentage. So for primary vertical axis, here's a couple different options on how we can do it. I like this rotated option. So same thing, you click in there, and I'm going to just type %. So this is a legend. It's not necessarily useful for this one. So if you click it and click delete, it can go away. You can add titles to these things. You can add labels to our data. A legend, you can change the plot area. You can do all sorts of things. You can change how this looks. You can, let's see here. You can do things like changing the word style of the title, all sorts of things. But this bar graph is basically the solution, which you can construct by hand, or as we've shown here in Excel, for that B part of 1.2. Make a bar graph of the percents. C says describe the distribution. So let's go over that. Let's describe the distribution. So we probably have some options in there about left skewed or right skewed or symmetrical. So this graph doesn't look too symmetrical to me, right? It's got a very low point here, it's got a high point, then it tails off to the right. So in general, if you see a graph that has a tailing off to the right, we call that right skewed. If it's tailing off to the left, we call it left skewed. We could say this is somewhat right skewed graph. We'll have to look in Stats Portal to find the exact what they want for the description. In the multiple choice section, they give some pretty specific details. So why is this not a histogram? So let's look back at this and decide why this isn't a histogram. So one of the reasons it's not a histogram is because on this horizontal axis we have labels. So this is categorical data. This is not quantitative data on this axis. These are age groups, right? I can't add the 19 through 24 age group to the 25 through 35 age group, right? If this were a histogram, these would be the bars would actually be touching each other. These would be ranges of data, right? This might be from, these could be, I don't know, anything, any sort of even or uniformly spaced sets. So we might have 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. They have to be exactly uniform sets. They have to have all the same size, each group. So this group would be 1 through 18 is much bigger than 19 through 24. Right? There's 18 years there, there's about 5 years there. There's 10 years here. They're not the same size. So we need these to be the same size. So this is definitely not a histogram. We'll look at some histograms in another video.